Oh wait, I've completely forgot about one segment that I was supposed to talk about. Oh god. And it's actually pretty fucking important. Oh god damn it. Okay. Let's go back to the keyboard. So okay, I've bought the switches, I've bought the keyboard, everything is going on alright, okay? Just remember that for the future, because I need to go back to the keyboard right now, because I forgot one very important details with mechanical keyboards. So mechanical keyboards have a lot of different versions of them. There's a version with all the, you know, buttons to press. So from the numpad to all the F keys, all the normal keys, you know, normal keyboard. But then there are also like keyboards that have maybe don't have the numpad, or don't have the numpad and don't have the F buttons, or maybe doesn't have even the numbers added, which is I think 40% when it's if you wanna look it up. Like look up, maybe it would probably be named like mechanical keyboard 40% layout, and you're gonna see just an absolute abomination that I don't understand what's the use case for it. If you just wanna write something on it, it's not gonna be useful. What the fuck? I've never seen this thing in my life. Okay, that seems useful. Okay, I was a bit of a tangent there. But when looking at a keyboard, I really wanted to have one thing in it. It had to have the F buttons, because I often use F5 to like refresh a page on while looking at stuff on a browser, and I didn't mind losing the numpad because I basically never used it. And looking at a keyboard like that was a bit of a problem, because people into mechanical keyboards often just prefer not to have the F keys on their keyboards. So I had to look up at a keyboard that has the hot swappable switches, that also had to have the variant that I wanted, which my favorite variant was TKL, or 10 keys less, which basically just means removing the numpad. So that was a bit of a problem, because looking at something so very specific is often costly. Luckily the Polish company that I was talking about before, which I think it's called Genesis, luckily they had the perfect keyboard. It was 10 key less, it had the silent switches, it was everything perfect. And if you wanna also buy the keyboard, I guess, the old version was called the Tor 303, and the new version is called Tor 404 that I've decided to buy in this story. But okay, I've talked about the keyboard. You now know the struggles that I forgot to mention. It can sound like a little detail, like okay, you just wanted to have F keys. That doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is a big deal. Trying to find that is almost impossible, especially because the TKL variant I think is the least popular. Unless you wanna qualify the 40%. That one, I don't know. I've seen one keyboard like that, but are there alive humans that even use it? I'm not quite sure. I would be surprised to learn yes. So okay, back to the storyline. We have, or at least I have a new controller, I have a new mouse, I have a new mousepad, which I've never had before, and I have a new keyboard with new switches. I was like, okay, this is the dream. I haven't bought myself anything new or even remotely expensive for the past like literally 10 years. And the only item that I bought myself was this microphone, and I guess the headphones that I'm using right now. But one was used and the other was really cheap, so you kinda see how I am normally. Okay, I need to go through this somehow. Oh right, because I have the increased reloading time for Gore. Can I turn that off in the middle? Wow, that's really useful. So yeah, I finally have all the items that I would normally never buy myself if I had the PC with me, because I would be too busy editing videos and just being myself to be focused around the items I have. So that was a bit of an adventure to buy all of those. So I had all of these items. I've decided to remove all the switches from my keyboard to put in the new ones, and you can't even hear them. Like, bro. Like, yeah, you can slightly hear them, but like, bro, these are so quiet. Like, compared to my last keyboard, like, they're not even the same realm. My god, this is so cool. But when I made the keyboard really quiet, there was one problem. That the mouse that I switched to from my brother, like my previous mouse was really quiet because it was just, I guess, a cheap mouse from cheap materials, so it was pretty quiet, it was old, it was fine. But this new mouse, god damn, hear this. It's fucking atomic loud. It's like literally 3 times louder than my old one. So I was like, okay, I just spent like, how much? Maybe like $120 on the keyboard to make it quiet. Only to have my mouse be so fucking loud. Okay, maybe I'm gonna use my old mouse. Or maybe is there some quiet mouse? And it was so embarrassing to buy a keyboard, buy the switches, only to have this fucking mouse. It was awful. So I was like, okay, I've spent a lot of money, I'm gonna chill out for a bit. But after like a week, I'm back and I'm like, okay, this is way too fucking loud, I need to find a solution for it. So I've heard about some mouse from Logitech that I have zero clue what it's called. But apparently it was like the best ergonomic mouse, that the new version is silent. So I was like, okay, that sounds like exactly what I wanted. And because there's a pretty popular mouse, there was a lot of used versions of it. And you know how I feel about used versions of items. It's just free testing. I get a cheaper version that I'm guaranteed to know that it's gonna work. That sounds like stonks to me. So I looked around at reviews of this item, of course, and I've noticed that there was one problem with it. Apparently the laser they were using to register movement on the mouse was absolute dog shit. And that basically meant that it could just lag during the gameplay. And you know, I want to play Hotline Miami. Having a mouse that's lagging in the middle of the game doesn't sound exactly like the best experience for me. So I kinda looked around if there was any other mouse that could be actually decent as well. And there was the one. Only one came up that I was thinking about. And it was the... I think it's called Razer ProClick Mini, if you wanna search it up. And it was, of course, like 300 to 400 PLN. Which I looked at that and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's been a week. I haven't spent my money on anything. Maybe? Maybe not? I was like, I could buy this, but is it worth it? Because basically the only use I would have for this item would be to play Hotline Miami. Or, no, just to have a quiet mouse when playing the games, when recording. That was literally the only use case. But to be honest, when it comes to money, I really like to play games and record that. So I was willing to spend that money. But there were the two titans, Logitech and the Pro Mouse Click Mini. And I had to look around on the reviews. Is it worth it? Is what I'm trying to buy something really bad? Is the Razer ProClick Mini actually decent, or is it actually dog shit? And like, if I have to talk about all the positives and the negatives of these two mouses, it was like this. Okay, the Logitech mouse is like but laser, so you cannot like really quickly move around, which is a problem during like fast games. Another problem was like maybe it was really built towards right-handed person, so for me it's not a problem, but for someone it could be. And its shape kind of forces your hand to be bent in a specific way, which fits one grip style, but it can be a bit worse for people with other grip styles. Meanwhile, the ProClick Mini goes like this. Oh, one more thing about the Logitech. It has a battery that's non-removable, so it's a lithium battery inside of the mouse, which has like a Bluetooth connection or maybe a dongle connection, whatever. And then on the other side it's the Razer ProClick Mini. And negatives were like, it's really small, so it fits only like people with small hands or medium hands with a specific grip style. It has a removable battery, so it can be a bit heavier on the side, because removable batteries are made slightly different. Removable battery can make the top of the mouse feel a bit cheaper, because you need to somehow be able to remove the battery and put it back in, so the top of the mouse is removable. And then there's like Bluetooth connection can be a bit finicky, but it has a dongle, so that kinda alleviates the problem. So okay, we have these two Colossus. Which one should I buy? I look at used mice of Logitech and it's filled. Everyone bought this mouse. I think despite it costing like literally $150, like it's not cheap in my country, everyone and their mother bought it. I'm not quite sure where people found the money to do it, but like at least it's cheaper, because there are so many used versions, like the price is gonna go way lower than it would for something else. Oh fuck, I have so small health. Let me change the item I have. Yeah, I need to have at least a little bit more health. So yeah, because there were a lot of used versions of this mouse, it was quite cheap compared to what buying a new one would be. Meanwhile, the Razer ProClick Mini was the complete opposite. I don't think anyone on earth even bought the mouse. It was... there was like one used version. And I'm so confused, why was it so unpopular? Because it was very specific towards what it does, which is being quiet. But like, it's not a bad mouse, I would say. So like, why is it so unpopular? But the Razer ProClick Mini had been cheaper on the default, so, you know, no used version, but it's still a reasonable price compared to the Logitech one. So I was kinda on the fence on this one as well. I was looking at the Logitech mouse, it seemed decent. I looked at the Razer ProClick Mini, it was a bit decent. And it's like, damn, I kinda like the battery being removable, because if something breaks with the battery, you know, you can just remove it. And you're not stuck with a dead mouse. Because in a normal mouse, if a battery breaks, that's basically the end of the mouse. Fixing that problem is almost impossible, to be honest. So having something that just makes that not a problem does sound pretty good, not gonna lie. So yeah, these two mice, they both looked really good. But I didn't mention one thing. The plot twist of the century. I mentioned how the Razer ProClick Mini is towards people with small or middle-sized hands, right? And that only fits very specific grip styles. Well, I have the grip style that this mouse fits perfectly. It's like the finger grip technique or something. And it's like, oh my god, this mouse was made for me! Hell yeah! So that was such a lucky coincidence for me, because it basically meant, okay, this mouse, it was either this or the Logitech, but this one has a better laser, it has silent switches, it has some other bad things about it that I didn't mention, but they are pretty small, like middle click and the bonus and the additional buttons are a bit louder than they should be, which yeah, can be annoying. But overall, it's nothing that's a big deal breaker. But the reviews also said one thing about the mouse. It was apparently also finicky when it comes to how good it will arrive, where there is a chance that you're gonna just get a version that's categorically speaking fucked. So that was another item like the controller that's, okay, do we take the risk? I mean, the controller seems fine, right? So maybe oh, we're only missing two things. That's nice. Did I make everything here? No fucking way. How do I look? I want to... Oh wait, this is the bottom of it. Wait, whoa. I have everything. Yo. So I don't need to go to the Snowlands area anymore. That's good. I mean, I've won, presumably one gamble with the controller. So another one with the mouse wouldn't hurt, right? And yeah, I don't have a possibility of buying a used one because this mouse is apparently the least popular mouse on the market, which I don't understand why. But yeah, I guess it's a very specific mouse for a very specific person like me. Because it's basically like, okay, you need to want a silent mouse, which most people wouldn't care about. You want to have a finger grip and have a small hand, or a medium-sized hand, which I have, lucky. So for me, this mouse was basically made for me. You know, for someone else, there's just other uses. Especially because it's gonna be a bit on the heavier side, which if you want to just buy a good mouse towards gaming, because this mouse is made like, it has basically gaming spec elements inside of it, so the laser doesn't suck ass like in the Logitech one. So that was actually pretty good detail about it. So yeah, for my specific use, this mouse was perfect. It's kind of difficult to find someone with exactly the needs I have, to be honest. Now, okay, I guess we'll be playing in the silence. Very awkward. I can't hear anything. Oh man, I was wrong. Very sad. Hello. Groundbreaker for only 200, that sounds like a decent deal to me, friend. I cannot replace anything. And I don't really want to remove this item. I can move this one. So this mouse was basically made for me, which was really nice. I didn't know someone was so considerate. So, you know, it's been a week since the last item I bought, which was the switches. I need something that's quiet. So like, this is the last item, I swear. I'm not gonna buy anything after that. I have literally everything upgraded since then. And this mouse, perfect. There's nothing gonna wrong happen with it. For sure this time. So I bought it. Am I proud of that decision? Maybe. But yeah, it arrived. I pressed around with it. And like, let's compare the mouses I have. This is the one from my brother. This is the new one. Like, yeah, you can slightly hear it. It has a little of a thump towards it. But it's overall not too loud. So I like it. And I just realized that it's almost the hour I'm supposed to go away. And I wanted to have a bit more to talk about. So I guess this is gonna be the longest special in my life. Because I'm gonna have to go back and record another part towards this episode. Jesus. But yeah, the whole setup is basically new. But, you know, it's been like 2 months after buying the mouse. And I always kind of wanted to have new speakers. So, I mean, I have the PC back, but I would like a new speaker. So yeah, the adventure doesn't end here, my friends. There's still one more item to buy. And this one is gonna be the biggest plot twist of all. Because you remember how I talked about the other items when looking at reviews. All of them are so polarizing. Where one person can tell you, yeah, this is the best item on earth. You know, another person is gonna tell you, yeah, this item sucks ass. But I looked around some cheap speakers that I wanted to buy, and there was just consensus around, yeah, you know what? These speakers, they're pretty good. And I looked at the reviews, and all of them were like, positive? I was shocked and devastated. How is it possible that internet can agree on something? Especially with a thing like, you know, speakers, which it revolves around sound. And sound can be pretty personal to people. You know, everyone prefers some different sound waves, I would say. So yeah, that was absolutely shocking, but they were cheap, they were decent, everyone agreed on that. I bought them and it was the last item. I didn't buy anything after that because, oh my god, buying anything for myself is really not the funnest experience. I need to look at reviews for hours. I need to look at prices for hours. I cannot sleep. I need to look at everything. And I always just feel really guilty about buying myself stuff. So yeah, finally, everything new. Whole new setup. The only thing that's left that's the same as old is my microphone, which is... I think it's called Blue Snowball from the company that makes Blue Yeti. But I kinda like this microphone. I'm using the same microphone since like the days of Hotline Miami 1 playthrough. Like the really old Hotline Miami playthrough I did. What the hell? Why is he giving me so many things, dude? I'm not that broke, dude. Okay, I don't know what I did here. This puzzle is too complicated on me, but I kinda don't care about it. Don't really need the reward. And yeah, this microphone is exactly the same that I used to, during my first series, which it might sound surprising, because I sound so much different since then. And not because my voice changed, it's because I just learned more about how to record stuff. And I'll be honest, the biggest difference towards in my video making career would be buying a new chair, which it might sound comedical, but seriously, buying a new chair was the best experience in my life. Because before I had different chairs during playing games by myself, and a different chair towards during making videos. And the problem with that was that the chair I was using during making videos was like a wooden chair, and it was so uncomfortable to sit on it. And I always had to change around my position, change around everything in my setup so it just fits. So yeah, since buying a new chair, like everything just came into place, because instead of going to another room, moving a chair towards my room, sitting on that chair, making everything just fit, I could just easily sit down on my normal chair. Lucky Captain's Talisman. A talisman that recovers all HP when moving to the next stage. That's pretty useful. So I didn't have to move around everything, and my sitting position is pretty consistent, unlike before. So it's easier for me to play games, because I know where I'm sitting, and I know this position well. And because everything is so consistent in my setup right now, it's easier for me to make a change, and it just stays everywhere. And yeah, because I had a different chair, it made my microphone sound way better, because instead of being like extremely below the microphone, I'm above the microphone right now. I have the high ground now. So yeah, if I knew how useful a chair is, that's also comfortable and useful. And the reason why I didn't use my old chair towards recording and playing games by myself was because it was squeaky as fuck. So yeah, it was pretty useful to buy a new chair. And if you're wondering what chair I'm using, it's the Marcus from IKEA, which is the most like everyone chair at once. And I do remember looking up at chair stuff and it being generally recommended to buy a used chair, because they basically don't lose any value. And if you want to buy a high-end chair, it's gonna be expensive as fuck, even more than the cheap $500 mechanical keyboard or cheap $300 mouse. So yeah, buying a used chair is gonna be generally better. With normal used items like a mouse or a keyboard, it's easy to find something used on the web and just buy it. Meanwhile, with a chair, you actually need to go out of your way to drive somewhere, pick it up, and do something, which can be a process that I generally don't want to live through, because I live in a specific area that's far away from people, so I would need to drive a whole lot of distance to find myself a good chair, so it was just easier for me to buy a Marcus. And to be honest, I'm pretty surprised how good this chair is. Like, I've been using it for like what? Since basically Long Live the Queen started. So it's been like 4 months. It's been like since April of last year. Because I think I bought it for myself on my birthday. But okay, that's, I guess, not every topic that I wanted to talk about. Because there was still the thing that I mentioned in the last episode that I wanted to talk about, why I'm not gonna record the Long Live the Queen for some time. But I have literally 20 minutes till I have to drive to my work. So it means that I'm gonna finish the episode in like 5 minutes. So that's a shame. I guess I'm gonna have to make a part 2. Or it's gonna be actually part 4 by now. And I guess I have some time to watch what I missed and always can mention more details. So yeah, that was basically the Need Healer's adventure towards buying new items. And if you want to see my review about the items, I would say this. The controller, pretty decent. Not sure if I would recommend it because of the fact that you can get it and it's gonna be just not working. But if you get a version that works, like, it's a pretty good controller. I've been using it for like every day for the past 2 weeks, I think. Like, basically since I got the PC. And it's pretty good. I don't have anything that I can complain about with it. When it comes to the keyboard, it's hot swappable. It's made from plastic. If you don't like that, that's understandable. But overall, I would say that it's pretty good. Like, I don't have any problems. Removing the switches from it wasn't a big deal. It has pretty good accessories for if you want to remove the switches, which is really nice. This keyboard doesn't have like plasticky accessories. It has actually made them from metal, which for a cheap price, I'm surprised, but it's really good. What else can I review? Oh yeah, the mousepad. I haven't used any mousepad in my life, so I cannot really say too much about it. But for me, it's pretty decent. I like it. I thought that the sandpapery feeling of it is gonna be pretty distracting when playing. But actually, when playing for literally hours in Hotline Miami, I seriously don't feel it. It feels better than the usual wooden setup that I had, because it's, first, consistent. Every place on the surface of the mouse is the same. There isn't a spot that's suddenly gonna have a little bit of dirt on it, and it ruins my experience, so I need to play around that. There's also like, when being focused on a game, I sometimes really push hard my wrist against the table, so the fact that the mousepad is between my hand and the table means that there is some squishiness to it, so I don't just remove my blood flow towards my hands, basically, which is a really nice feature because going numb in my hand isn't too nice, let me be honest, especially when playing like seriously for 2 hours. But yeah, the mousepad, pretty good, pretty cheap, I would say, and it should be pretty durable as well. So I would recommend, I'm not quite sure what it was called, but I think it's called like VG Venus, maybe? I'm gonna show it on the screen if I find it. The mouse from my brother, which is like a Zowie something, is decent. The only problem about it is like the sound of it is so loud that it's impossible for me to record with, obviously. But it's like light. Oh, I guess there is one more problem with the mouse. It is wired, which is fine, but the cable with it is made of rubber. It always wants to be bendy. It's so weird. So yeah, that's a bit of a negative towards mice. But anything from that, it's pretty light. And I've put the cable from the mouse underneath my speaker, so I'm able to just have it consistent in how I move it. And the cable doesn't get in the way because of that. So no, the biggest problem with the mice was the cable. It was kind of fixed, so I don't really have too much to complain about, besides the sound. After that we have the Razer ProClick Mini mouse, which I would say pretty decent. I thought that the mouse from my brother, I'm not gonna use it at all because I'm just gonna overtake it with the Razer ProClick Mini. But to be honest, I don't know, I still prefer the experience of just the wired mouse. And the Razer ProClick Mini is a bit heavier, which I didn't really expect to notice too much, but it did make me not really want to use it as much because it makes my hand a bit more tired. So no, it's still a pretty good mouse, I would recommend it. If you have a very specific use like me, like it's gonna be perfect for you. But yeah, what did I get after that? Like the speakers are also decent, but... Okay, one thing about the speakers that I want to also mention. When I got them, like at the start I used them and I was like, I'm not quite sure. Like, my old speakers also sounded fine. Maybe it was a waste of money, I don't know. But... Okay, I don't have everything. For a second I was like, what? I unlocked everything? But yeah, the problem with the speakers was like, yeah, I mean, they sound decent, but they don't really sound too different from my old ones, so like, I don't know, man. Was it worth it? Was it not worth it? But then, I turned on the music from Scene 20, release from Hotline Miami 2, which is Carpenter Brut, I think, Le Perv. And obviously that music is copyrighted, so I'm gonna use like Scene 22 Blood Money, like Acid Speed, because it's gonna also be like perfect for this situation. And I just listened to this music and I was like, okay, you know what, I'm convinced. These speakers actually slap. I don't know, something about that song, well, not song but music, just spoke to my soul and was like, okay, this is the exact thing I needed, you know what. I'm convinced suddenly. It went from like, I'm not quite sure to, yeah, this thing slaps. But yeah, that's my review of every item I bought. That's the adventure of how I bought all the items. And I guess there's gonna be another episode, or it's gonna be a part of this one, where I'm gonna go on some other things while I'm suddenly not recording Long Live the Queen. And a bit more about some other stuff, I guess. So yeah, this was a long episode. This was fucking long. I expected to talk about the adventure of buying things for like 3 minutes max, but it was a whole endeavor. But yeah, there's still a bit of stuff that I'm gonna have to do in this game. And okay, this is gonna sound bad, but I kinda like playing this game right now. When I don't have to think about the story, when I don't have to be focused on the gameplay too much, I can just... I don't know, this game is a bit similar to like Genshin Impact to me, whereas I would just call this game Advanced Walking Simulator, because I don't really use my brain when playing the game, I just walk around. Why is this so ungodly loud? Is there something new here? Okay, I guess we're gonna check it out later, in the next episode. I just like to walk around in these games, be 100% casual, because if I start using my brain and try to find a reason about some of the topics in this game, I'm just so annoyed by it. This game overall is pretty fun if you just want to dick around and not really think about anything. So that element about this game is decent, okay? I can admit. I hate this game, but it's fun to play just to not think about stuff, or not to be focused about the game, so you don't notice every flaw. But okay, that was the whole adventure. Next episode is gonna still have some more adventures. I might mention some untold story from the past. That is the adventure of how I bought the full version of my editing software, which I did that like literally 1 year ago, back in the same month as I got the PC, the new PC for my first time, and that was absolute torture of an adventure. So I really want to talk about it. If I miss something in this episode, I will mention that in the next one, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm not quite sure if this episode is gonna be good, and I'm not quite sure if the last episode was even good, because it's just gonna be constant cuts. But I don't know. I hope I'm not gonna be disappointed with the footage I'm editing. But yeah, now I have to focus on Coma, and then the next week, maybe? And okay, one last thing that I can mention. Today I was supposed to record not this game. This was supposed to be the freaking Christmas special. Only if the electricity didn't run out. And I am not quite sure if I told the whole story about the electricity thing. Okay, yesterday, suddenly when playing the game, electricity suddenly disconnected. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? During Metal Unit of all games. I didn't have any problems for the past like 3 weeks with playing on my computer. What the fuck is going on? And then, like 1.5 hours later, I'm like, okay, is the light even on in my room? So I turn it on, and it lights up, and I'm like, oh fucking hell, man. I was supposed to record, don't tell me the electricity went out, it went back in, but breaker that is connected to my PC just disconnected, so I didn't know that electricity is available. So I go down, look at the breaker. The specific fucking breaker for my PC turned off. And I was standing there like, oh my fucking god, 1.5 hours that I could have spent recording. Instead, I need to go to work right now. Are you serious? So yeah, at least it's not as bad as it was the first time the electricity ran out, right? Man, I'm so fucking excited. I cannot believe I said that during this game. But yeah, we're close to getting all this stuff. And I was supposed to go back to the main menu. Why did you have to do that? Wait, whoa. Wait, I'm gonna black out the screen because I want to mention that in the next episode. Oh my god. Okay, this is the end of this episode. I'm fucking excited. The next episode is gonna be fucking pumping. Goodbye till the next time. Oh my god. What the fuck is going on? I'm playing Metal Unit. What's going on? My god.
Broken.